Hey friends, just wanted to do one more video, I think, assuming that's okay with Brian and Dave, my friends from the West Coast, and they just wanted some more information about how to play maybe kind of the strategic level aspects to the game of Dreadnoughts, and of course, maybe a little bit more detailed in a bit of a battle scenario too, on how to maneuver ships a bit better, understanding on that. So I guess, as we went before, we're Japan. We are up against many other major powers, and the minor powers are kind of pretty much abstracted. They are there. We do have a treaty. I think if I mentioned, I'm not sure if I did that in the video, but we do have a treaty with India. And India, if we had operations in say the Bay of Bengal or the Arabian Sea, then we would definitely get some support for fueling. Fueling is always an issue at the time. Certainly, coaling is really, really important to have those facilities so worldwide as, the major powers, Britain and Germany and France all had issues with getting coaling operations. And certainly for the German East Squadron, which is not from Tianjin back in the day, that's Taiwanese now, or I guess Chinese in this case, looks almost like a Taiwanese kind of flag, but certainly hard to do when you're going to, the Philippines, or you're going down to, as the squadron did, into Coronel off of Chile and stuff. So fueling is a really big issue. We're kind of on the oil aspect now spectrum. Most of our ships are semi-oil, some are still coal, but we're trying to get them off of that. Politics, this is like a bit you need to look at. Just kind of gives you the overviews. I'm not going to go into too much of that, but it talks about what our oil production is per capita. Are we getting this? What's happening? What our budget is? Our ship count still a little heavy. We're heavy on ships. We don't have a lot of submarines. They've just kind of been new. We're at war with China, and that's indicated by these bars that we have here. So obviously, to the lower bars are negative relations, and negative 100 means you're at war. So China is definitely not our friend. We're at war, and Spain is not too friendly also. So Germany seems to want to be our allies, and you can increase relations or decrease relations depending on um, your influence and effect. You may have a negative effect if you try to increase tensions, obviously, but sometimes also with improving relations might fall flat and backfire. These are the nations that we could have quasi alliances with. I mean, they don't come in war with us, but if we fight off of, say, the Syrian coast of the Mediterranean, Syrian ships that they have bought or sold from major powers. Usually they come to us first. We'll engage. Argentina, Egypt, Colombia, Vietnam, Australia, and India. Australia's an independent nation at this time, separated from the British Commonwealth. Okay, yeah, so you can kind of look at the intelligence here. Certain ships, the Soviet Union just kind of went through a revolution, and they've pretty much in France, they're both upheaval, so they'll pop back on the board once the revolution is over. Finances, your monthly balance, how much the naval funds you're going to get. Crew is also important. You do have to get that here for crew training. If you do the rollover, it tells you, what it does and why it's important. Won't get into that. Self-explanatory. Transport capacity, kind of your economy, keeping your merchant marine fleet healthy and operational is important in times of war. Tech budget, we always spend a fortune on that. We're slowly going bankrupt because of that, but our ships are pretty much second to none when it comes to technology. And I think we went over a little bit of research. Something I do recommend is check things out before if you're going to design a new ship. And certainly, let's say these are some of the hulls that are available right now, and there's obsolete hulls. You probably can't see the rollover completely, but there's quite a few of them. So, if something's coming out and we see on the line here like 1 month, like an example, what can I give you? Like 5 months here for small guns. So if I saw a new hull that's coming out in 5 months, say, that would be, you might want to wait 5 months, each turn's a month, before you design a new ship. No sense designing a ship, and I've done that. I designed this great ship, or I think it's a great ship, and you get a brand new modern light cruiser, and the next month, they come out with even a better modern cruiser hull. So you kind of limited your tonnage that you can put on that hull, and it's kind of obviously these ships can last for years, so you want to try to get the most from your build. And if you see a lot of things that are coming up in 1 or 2 or 3 months that are important to you, if it's a submarine, of course, there's a new submarine hull coming out in 4 months. So I might wait 4 months if I can before I put down those new hulls, right? Ship design, I think we've kind of went into that a little bit. Certainly, these are different ship designs that I've come up with. Most of them have been, if you see the italicized, I don't know if you can see that with the rollover, but between the Masuki and the Naka, it's italicized. So the Naka is a light cruiser. I just put my own little class, like that's 25 knots, but you can see it says 1916, but to the right, sorry for the rollover, 1902. So it's an upgrade to 1916 standards, but the hull and ship design is from the 1902. So, obviously 1902 might have some limitations on what you put in that hull, right? You can update them pretty well. You can strip them down, but that takes a lot of time, right? So if you're just doing a quick update, suppose you want to put on, a new tower, or say you want to put a, sonar on. We're in 1920s, we got sonar. You might want to put a, hydrophone or a sonar piece upgrade, and that certainly would help your ship. Fleet summary, we have that. I think we've gone over that a little bit. Just talk some things you want to watch is some of the costs that you're putting out. Obviously, if you're building a new ship, the costs are really fairly high. Normally, a destroyer to maintain, say the KS, sorry for the rollovers, is only 795,000, but the O8 is almost costing us 2 million a month because it's on the dry docks and we're rush building it too, of course. Submarines, pretty simple here. I only have three. They've just come out, but I have an SM, which is a mine lane submarine, and these are coastal submarines. And they're kind of abstracted, but they do battles, but they auto resolve. You don't actually see them. You can see them in battle later on. You might have a torpedo come out of nowhere, but it's pretty rare usually in battle scenarios. It's more on the main map. All right, so we're at war right now with China. We have a land invasion into northeast China. Really good. We'd like to have that. That's caused because we are in Manchuria, and we've put tons of ships in the Yellow Sea, which is affecting the operation certainly for supply, logistical support, and abstractly moving our armed forces around. So we're 65% progression into actually capturing this. So it's green. It means we're advancing. The British Empire is also one of our allies in this, so they're jumping in here too from a land force perspective. The Chinese, they're pretty surface wise. They don't have a lot of ships. It's mostly, they went kind of like Germany in World War One and World War Two. They've gone heavy into submarines. So I've been trying to get my fleets here. I have two fleets. I'm trying to reinforce them with what few light forces I have, like cruisers and destroyers, so that they can protect our battleships and battle cruisers. The red symbols are red submarine forces. So this one looks like it has two coastal submarines and one mine leading submarine. Just one submarine here. And here's a surface fleet, not very big, cruiser and light cruiser. They don't have very many surface fleets. They've been at war so often, China. They've been pretty much ravaged from surface warfare capabilities. And of course, I have a mine laning sub, so he's going to be, trying to mine lay some of these ports so that his transports are having issues. In this case, it looks like we've got a battle that came up. I think this one's a battle. What's this going on? Cruiser versus cruiser, and we've got a convoy one going on here. Two light cruisers. So we might try the convoy one. It's going to be pretty close. We're pretty evenly matched there for sure by tonnage, and that can help with some of our ideas for combat. Also, to remember, friends, is the port tonnage, what you can put in the port. So Sebastopol, 208,000 tons that we can put in there, almost 209,000. Make sure you try to keep those numbers under there. Like when I have this fleet port, it could easily get up above that 208,000. So we want to keep that down. You're going to be paying a maintenance fee if you've got the harbor overloaded, and also for repairs that can be certainly a negative. Okay, let's try this. What do we want to do? The battle? We can skip these if we don't want to do them, but they certainly can be an issue here. So there's a cruiser on cruiser. This one might be a bit more interesting. There's 6 transports. Usually, though, if you sink the ships here, you usually can't get to the transports. But if we can get around the combat ships, we can go right for the transports, because that's the juicy part certainly for extra points. These are 2 light cruisers. I thought I had a heavier cruiser, but these are kind of older models. 28 knots. Ooh, 21.6. This was designed with 10 4.1-inch guns and 4 2.3-inch guns, but this is designed to kill torpedo boats that would come in sometimes on my battleships or battle cruisers, and it was just there to pop off, high rate of fire to take out very lightly armored ships. And so is this really. Intelligence here, well, they don't have the greatest guns either. So, well, let's see what we got. Torpedoes and mines. Well, that's the bad guy. He's been mining my on the Taiwan Straits here. Mine is just two light cruisers, so maybe not the best example for. We're just not going to get large battles with the Chinese because they have like 7 or 8 surface ships. So they've gone totally with a submarine force, which, if you're on a budget, which I should be, certainly that could be something that's an effective weapon system. So what do we got here? We got two different classes of light cruisers, and we can see from, let's open this up, but the Yubari, let's take a look at what she's got. All right, we've got some 6-inch guns, one 6-inch gun, and a bunch of, we got two, oh yeah, it's on the port and starboard, two 5.4s in the rear stern, and we got some 4.4s and some casemate little 3-inch guns here. Torpedoes are pretty good though. We got a nice 3 deck times 3 torpedo tubes, and then we have one in the bow, and it looks like port and starboard, bow and stern, and then one triple deck mounted. So certainly this could be nasty if it can get in close. Speeds at 28 knots. For some reason, oh, we're limited because we have the Lieutenant Shadaskov. Ah, I forgot. This is an old one way back when we were fighting Russia, and part of the peace negotiations, they provided us or gave us. We were forced them to give us. They gave us some ships. So certainly an older ship, 21.6 knots, not very fast, but she does have 4.1s, lots of 4.1s. So if we can get in close, a couple of torpedoes. I don't know what kind of armor she has. So 0 to 3.4. I'm not too impressed with this. And the quality of the armor, if you look down, I can't point to it, but 5 or 6 down, your armor is Krupp 2. So that's pretty good German style armor there. So, and I'm just curious, what kind of armor do we have on this one here? Krupp 3. Okay, so she's pretty good there. All right, so I'm going to, I'm not sure if I should separate these two or we keep them in a line. What do you think? Yeah, good point, Dave. Maybe we'll keep them in a line, and we can split them up later. Okay, let's just close in on these guys, and we'll see how well these light ships can do against the other light ships. So let's take a look. Our spotters indicate to the north is where the action is going to be, so we are pretty much almost to the north, maybe a little bit off. And then we'll keep it at our top speed, which is 22 knots, and we'll just advance that to much faster. So I prefer to have the sun to our, although the sun's pretty much up. So let's see what we can come across here with these light cruisers and see if we can mess things up. Some things about the light cruisers, of course, they are fairly maneuverable. We can also look, we're down to 10, so let's go to a level 5 speed. We can see the Yubari, we can see some flaws that we've got. So those are negatives from our dry docks. Fairly modern. Let's take a look at the Russian ship. Not one flaw, so that's pretty good. Fuel's at 97%. It also factors in if we're doing flank speed all the time. Even in a combat situation, you're coming off the operational strategic map. When you come into the tactical arena, you certainly have to, you just can't fly around at flank like some video game type programs. You have to be cognizant of your fuel status. If you do have low fuel, it's not like you're going to stop in an arcade, but you're going to be at a much lower reduced speed, right? So if this is a top speed of 28.8, she might drop down to like 15 or 16 knots, which can be horrible in a bad, if you're in not the greatest scenario to get away with. All right, so here we go. We got someone on our starboard bow here. Just Dave here on the chat there. What's he? Okay, yeah. Which way do you think, Dave? Yeah, okay, we'll go port. Let's try port. So hard over. We have our torpedoes. Something you can do is you can click on a ship. We haven't identified it, but we've already, I don't think this is too much information, but we've already determined that the torpedoes are effective really within max 1.5 kilometers. And certain weapon systems, you can see here's this 1.9, 4.5 inch. You can kind of get those ranges, which can figure out where you might be better off. I know we're close and we want to get into a knife fight. I would recommend putting your torpedoes, oops, they already fired, maybe a save mode because they were a little itchy on the torpedoes. Actually, is this a transport? No, obviously not. We're looking for transports, but this is a warship. Now we can get a little bit on the silhouette. We're still looking at the Jane's war book to determine this, but he's got some really funky guns on here. Quite a few of them too. They don't have the best arcs though. All right, so how did our torpedoes do? Let's see. I don't know. Did they? Here we go. And it looks like there's two ships all of a sudden, but yeah, so he fired, as I suspected, too soon. However, we can see that the tracks there, so certainly he's maneuvering aggressively to escape those torpedoes, which is the wise thing. So taking a little bit of damage, got a minor fire here. We're opening up with our, like I said, this is designed to kill torpedo boats, so lots of small guns, high rate of fire. But we're not getting too many hits here. Mind you, they puff smoke, so I've done a smoke screen. Let's take a look at the lieutenant and see how our Russian prize ship is doing. It's got no flag. It's a white flag, I guess, because it's. Is he even firing? That looks like a bug. Yeah, something's not right there. So that's an interesting. A captured prize ship isn't working, so that's not so good. But that's okay. Let's get in there. We're going to do this. We're going to detach the Russian, who seems to be not wanting to fight for the Japanese cause, it seems. But he can take hits. All right, we got a flooding. That's really great. So we've really been peppering them. I think because he does have Krupp armor, or we think he does. We think he does. I think he will actually maybe go to high explosive. Let's light him up on fire. Actually, we are getting some flooding. We are getting some penetration. So, but his structure, as you see at the upper top there, is 92%. So I'm going to override the computer, which often usually is smarter than I am, to go high explosive. And now that I've untethered myself from the Russian, we're going to come in hard and see if we can get a torpedo hit on this. Now I gotta watch. He's got torpedoes too. Where is his torpedoes? Okay, so now we've got it figured out, the Chinese name. He has torpedoes, port starboard ones, and one at the rear and bow. But there are one torpedoes where we've got a multiple deck torpedo launcher at the back there. Reloading, you can see their speed, how much ammo. We've got 9 torpedoes left. Reload time 652 seconds. Rate of fire very quickly, 0.09. All right, so there's a cruiser. So how are we going to work this out? This is going to be tough. Okay, now our Russian ship is getting into the action here. I guess his range of his guns was just so low. Does she have any torpedoes? Yes, she does. Not very many, though. All right. Let's keep the bow on. We're going to close it up. It looks like we're drawing far from them, so I'm going to also maybe start a smoke screen. As he draws the attention, we're going to try to stoop in here with a 29-knot Yubari. Let's see what we can do here, boys. Just looking at gun arcs here, trying to maximize, I guess, being on a maybe oblique angle, maybe like a 45. Okay, that's that block. That's that Krupp level 3 armor. So we have state-of-the-art armor. I guess if we came in the center here, we could. Our torpedoes. Oh, there's a fire by our torpedoes. Please don't take out that torpedo rack. So that's something that's yellowish. But we want those torpedoes to work. Should tell the Russian friend to save yet torpedoes too. Guess I should start leveling her off. What do you think, Dave? Yeah? Okay. Will the fire take out the torpedo? It's possible. And I mean, we don't want to have a torpedo explosion either. Now we have, once again, because our research is so good, we do have advanced Let's see here if we can get a shot off on this guy with torpedoes. Not the best angle, is it? But let's say normal. Let's see if she'll fire. I think we're getting a pretty good range there. Come on, Captain. Yeah, I think she just went out. I think torpedoes just launched. There we go. Just one off that torpedo rank. What did we not have? Oh, that hurt. Okay, now we got a torpedo here, so we want to, holy smokes, so we want to crank it up. I don't know. Geez, what do you think, guys? Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Fantastic. Uh-oh. We don't want it to happen to us. Where's the Russian ship? I don't want to run into him. No. Okay, hard to port. I could go reverse on my engines. No. Oh, jeez, that was close. We could have backed on the engines, cranked the speed down, and really try to, I mean, we've damaged our engines temporarily, possibly permanently for the battle. I'm hoping she's going down, but maybe not. Let's have our Russian friend work him over at close range. And I don't want to worry about that too, because he may have some torpedoes left, so I don't want to get too close. And we can see his port torpedo is reloading. I don't know if you can see that. If I double click on it, you can see. So I'm going to tell him to go normal on the torpedoes, which means they usually will shoot at this range. Good, we got flooding on that. Okay. So it looks like we're up against a destroyer. Not too bad but he may have lots of torpedoes. He's reloading too, so we got to watch that. Ooh. Penetration, flooding, perfect. Oh, it looks like he had a flash fire too. Look at that. So, oh yeah. So we hit the magazine. Yeah. So the magazine's gone up there. So she's just. You can see the turret flying off. Like I said, all the physics and the compartments, what's hit, the penetration, the explosive capability of that shell. It's factored in, right? So good job, Lieutenant. All right, so now it's probably an unequal fight. I think we have the range factor. There is no reason for us to try to get in close. Let's just pause and see what our ballistics are looking like right now. So we have a 1.7% chance to hit, depending on obviously certain calibers and technology, but on average. It's an overcast weather, a negative rough sea wave, so we're really negative 33%. Now the range has been found. We can see the big positive down on the shoot information there on the left-hand side. Our range found at 247%, so that's a certain plus. That's something that we definitely want to moderate breeze. So we don't have too many. Our hull stability and tower, that's my designs. And the fact that we're moving at 28 knots is certainly an issue too, and targets maneuver negative 13%. So good to know that you have that, and you can certainly use that to adjust or moderate your maneuvers, speed, etc. Going around at 28 knots probably isn't the best for shooting either. Okay, let's game on. We got pretty lucky there with getting those torpedo hittings, and it was just great that she saw her bow magazine's just cooking off now too. Whoa. All right, so Zheng Qing has seen better days, and you can see she's just totally kind of like the Hood, I guess, in World War II, or some of the British Admiral Beatty's battle cruisers in Jutland suffered from poor magazine discipline, and of course magazine explosions. Having torpedoes, barbette armor that's weak, using very high rate of explosive powder, which I do use for better effects, certainly can affect the possibility of having tragic fires. Looks like she just went into a rain squall there. So I'll just pick it up a little bit, because this is we're just hunting her down as a destroyer. I mean, we got to watch for those torpedoes. And this is the problem, right? You're in a rain squall. They don't factor that in. They will later. But, if he comes banging out of that squall at 35 knots, 39 knots, yeah, it could be, hard to starboard kind of thing. Really have to be careful. So I want to chase him down. It says it's one more light cruiser, they think. Oh, that's the one that's sinking that we can see on the board. But these transports are juicy. I want to get those transports. Where is Southwest? So are we going Southwest fronts? Not really. Southwest is this way. So now, do we want to do this? We could chase the transports, the troop transports down. Certainly that is a big bonus, and that'll help our logistical and army support on the mainland in North China. So something to consider if you're playing a long campaign game, but we're just trying to learn here, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. We'll go a little bit farther, see if we can find anyone. 5 speed. Can't go any higher to 10 or 30. That's because other ships are nearby. So, and factors, weather, of course, is big issues. But, the towers, your technology, your optics, what you have in the ship, certainly factor in what our level of training here is. We have veterans here, so I think that's, if not the highest, second highest. These guys are green, so they've just barely been trained, but they're green from a combat perspective. So they're going to have modifications across the board, everything from reloading torpedoes to how fast they can, make a hard to starboard command. They may have great equipment, but obviously great people can make a difference in battle. So it looks like we're not going anywhere with level 10 here, so we'll call that. And I don't like to use leave battle because sometimes it calculates what it thinks. We'll use this though instead, rather than a calculation at the end. You got to go for, a client's on the phone and you got to hit escape. You either pause it or hit leave the battle, and the computer, artificial intelligence, will complete the logarithms calculations on what they think damage would happen. If you want to get into this, you don't have to, but you can look at how effective your ships and the enemy ships were if you have that fog of war setting off. But you can see, for example, they had pretty good. That's what I was a little worried about, the Zhangqiu. Good luck on that. Their accuracy was 5.6%. I mean, from gunnery competitions, they would have won that, right? And our gun wasn't that great, but the Russian guns, much smaller caliber, and they were in closer, were 8% effective. So congrats to our Russian prize ship that we captured. Secondary guns, torpedo accuracy, obviously that depends if you hit or not. Fuel status, engine status, etc., etc. At the end of the session. All right, so we're gonna get out of that. Oh, here's our family. Certainly a very interested man, very nations in the Far East, or his opinion on what they should be doing. Caused some issues, but he was very innovative in many ways. All right, here's our victory score sheet, if you will. A little bit more of our victory points, which is good. So that certainly can help us in the overall war. But reality, what we're looking for is this advance here, 65%. So we're going to capture this Northeast China province, 1.3 billion in income per month, which certainly can help us. And we get our own oil production. We don't have any oil production yet. I think so. India or Ally has oil, so we can get that from them. But there's still a cost involved. Certainly, having our own oil production would cut down on that supply chain for fuel. I think that was it. I think what do we got here? Cruiser versus cruiser. We can do that quickly if you want. I'm not sure how we're going to do on that one. She's fast, 28 knots. So if we start to lose, we can run. They're veterans, very good for training. Excellent. We got 4 10-inch guns, so that's pretty heavy. Let's see what this guy has. 23 knots, so we're faster, and he's only got a 6.4s. So we shouldn't see this either, but they'll change that in the game. But his crew training's trained, so we have better crew, longer guns, and we're faster. So I think that works out pretty well. The fact he's got a lot of other elements attached to the ship in the hull that almost equals the same as tonnage. So there could be a lot of things besides just looking at guns and speed. Armor is also a factor, and of course towers and everything else. All right, we'll do one more battle here. If you want to look at these cards, you can move them around sometimes, and you can combine the cards almost like a deck of cards. Just right click Dave and Brian on your division marker, and then it'll give you the data on the ship. So you can see we're doing 24 knots. Obviously, if we do a hard over, like any good physics that this program incorporates, we should see, depending on the rudder, the shaft, the fuel systems, the engines, the auxiliary engines, all those things are incorporated. We can see we're burning off, we're bleeding off speed here, right? Which makes sense. Some ships can't handle that. Some ships are better with acceleration. Certainly when you need a different geared turbine, steam, electric turbine type engines, you can certainly really reflect that. All right. There we are. So we can see we're heeling over a little bit. A little heavy chop here in the waves. We want to go northwest, though. Of course, we want to get to find this other cruiser. So where is northwest? Actually, we turned in the right direction. So basically there. All right, this build is a older build. You can tell because of the hull. She's rocking back and forth. Probably has some pitch issues. Of course, the waves don't help. So we got 10-inch guns, right? Bow and stern. We can't see that with that rollover. Some 5-inch casemate guns and a couple torpedoes on each side. I'm not sure. And they're Mark III torpedoes, so they're not too bad. We try to upgrade our ships as much as possible. It costs a fortune, but it's better to upgrade older ships, you'll find, than refit them rather than, designing whole new hulls and rebuilding them from scratch. All right, let's not waste time. Let's go 30 speed. We want to get into combat situations. Northwest. We should be going northwest, but they may be running, so that could be quite a possibility. We won't keep this too much. Enemy smoke. All right. Well, where is he? Looks like they're gone. They're pretty light, so they're probably going fast too. This ship does have a pretty decent speed. I mean, 28 knots, and she's pulling out 28 knots with even. She just came over from a overhaul refit, so the engines are working quite nicely, full speed. All right, I think that's enough on that. We'll just leave that battle, but certainly some information there. That cruiser, heavy cruiser, could have been a straggler from another engagement. Famous in their own category in many. Okay, all right. So she had medium damage already. That's why she was bailing on us. Anyways, I hope that helped a little bit in the combat. Certainly, with more ships, you can 20, 30, 40. You can have like a Jutland almost. Maybe not quite, but certainly you can get Jutland-like parts of the battle replicated easily, especially with heavy ships. Try to watch your balance. I'm spending a fortune. You want to make sure that that's important. We are winning. You make sure you keep an eye on the victory points. If you find you're not doing well, you can just go to the politics screen, and you can certainly go for that. And that's just improve relations. Where's China here? I could ask for a peace treaty. Not that I would. And if I wanted to do a naval invasion, I could just click that, and I could choose a province to actually invade, which is really cool. You don't have to wait randomly. You can just choose a province. And I could say, I think we're already doing Northeast China, but I could do Kachu Bay. So if I have 100,000 tons plus in the vicinity, should we commence an attack in the next month? Yes. So it gives you time to figure that out. And we can find that province. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Should be one of these provinces, but China doesn't have a lot of provinces. So which one would that be? I think it's this. It could be Eastern China. So what I'll do is bring in 100,000 ships, and they'll get an invasion symbol on the next turn. Actually, I can probably just do that while we talk. And then I have to get 100,000 tons in that area. There's our mission populating up here. We have an option to do a naval invasion. An invasion. Everyone's, going to try to get in there, try to interfere with you if you can. China's pretty would be submarines probably, mostly, and try to intercept convoys. And if we can get enough people in there, we can. They have oil. Here's another one of these not random, but kind of generated events that can happen. So the Soviet looks like their admiral in charge might be getting removed, and that's something which is a good thing. That means that somehow they're suffering, or they're overspending, or there's problems with their economy or in their navy in the upper ranks. We don't want to fight this. This is just a submarine. These are CHs, they're little tiny submarines. I've reinforced these battleships and battlecruisers with some light forces. So usually I just do auto resolve. You can't fight submarine battles necessarily. So in this type, but it's pretty rare. So I've put some heavy depth charges on this class of destroyers. So they've been hammering them pretty close. I think they had 27 submarines at the beginning of the war, and now they're down to like 7. So they go pretty quick. If you don't have good protection, they can be very effective too. Here we see a new technology, which is great, emergency diesel generator. So certainly this helps with repairs when we pull into dock. We need to get our ships repaired and out as quick as possible. This emergency diesel generator can certainly help us with that. And it also came up, that's great, interesting month, but our scientists are working overtime, so we got improved ballistic tip. So these are great for, better for ship, for our shells, and certainly gun range and penetration. Now there will be factors when we go into that to design our ship, whether these improved ballistic, that's the positives. There could be some other costs to that too. Is it cost more money? Is it more chance of ammo explosions, etc., etc.? I don't think it is. I think they've got now, it just tells you everything, the pluses and the minuses, and there are no reds. So that means that this is a pretty good improvement. Definitely want to use those. All right, so here we are. This is us, Empire Japan. We're mobilizing to have a naval invasion against China, against the Kishatsu Bay. Fleet is inside the attack zone. Troops are carried, and land battles occur near the shore. So we're going to have two battles, one up in Manchuria, and then one down in Kazutsa Bay. This is just more news about the Sikhs. They're rebelling. Vietnam. Oh, China arms try to gain control. Okay, so they're trying to get another province that's not under their control. Moldavia's got their resistance has been reduced. It's just an update of what's going on in the different battles. We don't have anything here. Looks like they're just fighting some neutrals or other people from resistance. So I don't know where our invasion symbol is, but I don't know where that Kamachu Bay is. But nevertheless, that'll be how you can do to get, here it is right here. So yeah, Kazutsu Bay. So that's worth 205 million. That's nothing to shake a stick at. And we're really lucked out because it's also the Yellow Sea. So in our Yellow Sea, we can see we have great projection, power projection, but more importantly in the tonnage of the black rollover in the upper left, upper left, you can see that there's 348,000 tons in here. So not only is that helping us in Manchuria, taking out northeast China, but it's also helping us down here. If I can zoom in, it's quite tight here, from attacking from the into Kachutsu Bay, right, in our massive fleets here, not massive, but fairly strong divisions. Not only are they destroying all the subs that are coming at us, we're going to be able to take two major provinces. So that's certainly good. And naval invasion, there's the symbol there. It's got this little, it's hard to see, but so needed tonnage, it's 60,000. So we need to get in there, I guess, into that zone. I don't want to get into the mines. Remember, these are mines. So I'm going to put my fleet, going to move all these guys. One of my destroyers has some damage, but that should be okay. We're going to put that into the zone, all of them. And that'll be more than 60,000, I would imagine, for sure, I would think, yeah. What's the tonnage on these? Yeah, the battleship's 25,000 alone, so we should be pretty good. All right, and then we just keep that there, and over time, this will progress, and like this one up here was, and we'll capture both those hexes, which will be devastating for China. All right, friends, I'm going to end it there. Hope you enjoyed it, Dave and Brian, specifically some of your questions on naval invasions and submarine warfare, and how to run it at your nation or empire. I guess we're a constitutional monarchy, so I guess we're maybe, I don't know, I guess a nation. Anyways, take care, friends. I hope everyone's being safe, and I guess a shout out to Dave, your sister. Hope she's feeling better. All right, take care, friends. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.